Hey, look up this young fighter called the Monster. You ever hear Monster? He's a mean son of a bitch. He's better than Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao was little like that.
With Inoue's recent victory over Stephen Fulton, more and more people have been asking the same question. Is Inoue better than Pacquiao? Now, I was going to make a whole video comparing their different styles, legacies, strengths, and weaknesses. But I realized that in the end, all we can do is speculate. No matter how much research I do, no matter how many reasons I can come up with as to why one is better than the other, we're never truly going to know who's the better boxer. And I understand the parallel that's being drawn here. They're both Asian boxers, they have nearly identical height and reach, they both started fighting at around the same weight, and both are really exciting to watch. So it's pretty easy to compare the two. Now, before we go off track, let's get back to the question at hand. Is Inoue better than Pacquiao? If you want my personal answer, my answer is probably. But before you comment something mean or threaten to come to my house, just listen for a bit. I say probably because it's not for any specific reason. It's not the styles, it's not because of their footwork, it's not the power difference, it's not the speed or legacy. It's simply due to the fact the sport of boxing evolves over time. Techniques have evolved, training methods have evolved, everything has gotten better, fighters included. What fighters have access to today are much different than what fighters had access to 20 years ago. The fighters of the past didn't have fancy technology that optimizes each and every single bit of a fighter. Each era is improved over the last, and isn't that what we want? Don't we want those who come after us to be better? Much like how we want our children to one day surpass us. Isn't that the way it is? I know it's a pretty general reason, but I just want you to think about it. Like, really look at it from an outside perspective. Society progresses in a very similar way. Things evolve, things change, things get better. From countries down to the people, we get better. For example, the first iPhone was revolutionary for its time, the best of its kind. I remember hearing about it as a kid and thinking how extraordinary it was. Yet it can't even compete with a modern iPhone. Obviously, iPhones are completely different, so let's compare it in a boxing scenario. Do you think that the legendary Harry Greb, the light heavyweight champion in 1922, could take on the likes of Artur Beterbiev, Dmitry Bivol, or Canelo? I wouldn't think so, and that isn't supposed to be disrespectful in any way. I bet that Harry Greb would be quite happy to see how talented boxers are these days. Now, I know comparing a boxer from 100 years ago is a large scale, yet there's still a noticeable difference between fighters of today and fighters from a century ago. For Inoue and Pacquiao, the scale is just smaller. Like I mentioned earlier, things have gotten better for each generation of fighters. The skill ceiling just keeps getting higher and higher, and we just see that that's the way it is. Each generation picks off where the last generation left off. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to pull Pacquiao down. I wouldn't even think about making this video if I were. He's one of the greatest of all time, and no one's ever gonna take that away from him, whether or not Inoue surpasses him in skill or legacy. No matter what anyone says, including me, you'll be remembered for as long as the sport of boxing exists. I feel like we should stop being so hostile towards the idea that we could be seeing a once-in-a-lifetime fighter in Inoue. Boxing is about unity, respect, learning. We saw Pacquiao teaching Inoue in that one video. Shouldn't we be happy that an all-time great like Pacquiao is passing knowledge down to the next generation? That's amazing to me. I love that. We need to accept that fighters are constantly getting better and be open-minded to the fact that even all-time greats will one day be surpassed. I firmly believe, knowing what type of person Pacquiao is, that he would love nothing more than Inoue to surpass him one day. He loves the sport more than anything, and I'm certain he would be nothing but proud to see the next generation of fighters be better than his own generation. I'm also sure that he wishes that on his children as well. Now let me ask you another question. Would you be happy if your successor was worse than you? Now I'm sure that most of you would want your successor to be as good or better than you. We pass down knowledge to others in hopes that they don't make the same mistakes that we did. In boxing, it's about the same thing. We pass down techniques, lessons, training methods, ring knowledge, and so much more. It would be natural to assume that the skill ceiling for the younger generation of fighters is much higher than the last. If I want to be specific about legacy, Inoue definitely has a long way to go. I think he needs a few more big names under him and a few more divisions to come anywhere close to Pacquiao's resume. But as of right now, I think he's on the right track. I'm a die-hard boxing fan, and it would be wrong for me to be close-minded. So I keep it open to the fact that Inoue could possibly surpass Pacquiao one day. And you should too. Being 30, he's still young. He's still in the prime of his career. I think he has at least 6 to 7 more years left in him. And that's 6 to 7 years to improve on his game. Whether or not he surpasses Pacquiao is only going to be answered with time. Maybe when the time comes for Inoue to hang him up and step away from the limelight, we can compare their legacies and really answer that question. We just have to be patient and see. But in the end, we'll never really know. And that's what I like about boxing. We'll never know who's better until they step in the ring. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe, tell me your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching, and this has been Chino's Fight Corner.